Scott McMillan is in the Perth studio now to tell us all about Invictus Energy. Lovely to meet you, Scott.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. So can you please introduce us to Invictus Energy? I know you're sort of newly formed as the entity you are today.
Yeah, thank you. And Invictus is a fairly new company in the market. We announced our transaction to acquire 80% of the Cabora Bassa project located in northern Zimbabwe. It's a fantastic asset that we've picked up. It was previously explored by Mobil over 30 years ago, and it's been sitting dormant, locked up for the last 25 years.
I definitely want to hear more about this asset, but first of all, can you please tell me about the operating environment in Zimbabwe?
Sure. Zimbabwe is an emerging story post the Mugabe change in power. The new president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, has committed to some serious reform. He's walking the walk and implementing significant reforms in terms of rescinding the indigenization law. There's 100% foreign ownership now allowed for assets, and the operating environment there has changed dramatically. He's appointed some key people into some of the more critical ministries, such as mines and finance, and that's really instilling confidence in the country.
Okay, great. So companies formed, asset is there, good environment. Let's talk about the asset, shall we? Tell me about the Cabora Bassa Basin, and I understand it hosts a very exciting prospect, the Mzarabani prospect. What can you tell us about all of this?
That's correct. The basin is very exciting, and the portion of acreage that we've picked up contains the Mzarabani prospect. It's the largest undrilled seismically defined structure in onshore Africa that's got multi-TCF potential, and we've located our acreage in the heart of the basin, where this enormous prospect lies.
And how does this stack up against global oil and gas exploration following the bit of the roller coaster of prices that we've seen over the past several years?
Look, we're coming into the market at a pretty good period. There's been a hiatus in exploration over the last 3 years. A lot of the poorer acreage in people's portfolios has been jettisoned, and now with oil prices increasing dramatically, we're seeing exploration back on the agenda for many companies, but there's a dearth of quality acreage available. You're seeing a lot of players now that were previously some of the premier explorers being unable to generate any new plays. And so we've got this world-class prospect that's coming in and going to be ready to drill, this time next year. That is placing us right at the front of the queue. It's not going to require new entries in terms of bid rounds, tens of millions of dollars in work programs, and 2 or 3 years to work up. We've got something ready-made that's coming into the market at the right time.
And Scott, I understand part of the recent action with Invictus is a heavily oversubscribed capital raising. Can you tell me about this? Tell me what this cash is earmarked for.
Sure. We did complete a $4.5 million placing at 3 cents. The oversubscription was due to the quality of the asset, being a very material prospect, and the fact that we don't need a lot of money to advance this prospect to get it farmed out and drill ready. So, out of that $4.5 million, we're only going to need around 2 to get this to a farm out, and so we're fully funded and cashed up, and so that's part of the attraction of this. That we're not spending 2 or 3 years chasing this, and we're not spending $25 million acquiring a data set. We've inherited a $30 million data set that Mobil left behind 25 years ago.
So Scott, finally, can you tell me what are the plans to develop the Cabora Bassa Basin, the Mzarabani prospect? Tell us about those big milestones on the horizon.
Sure. We've got a technical work program that we're currently running, and that includes reprocessing some of this legacy data. That's 2D seismic, gravity, and aeromagnetic. Some of the gravity work that we released last week looks really encouraging and just shows you the advances that new technology has made in 25 years, and we're really excited about the seismic reprocessing that's underway at the moment. Some of the other work that we've got going on includes the basin modeling of the Cabora Bassa and the geochemistry studies on the source rock that's present in the basin. 25 years ago, the Lacustrine source rock, which is present, wasn't really recognized as a world-class oil generator, but now you've had discoveries in places like Uganda and Kenya, multi-billion barrel oil discoveries that come from the same type of source rock. So we're really encouraged, that not only is there gas condensate potential, but oil potential as well in the basin. One of the other things that we're doing as well is to get an independent certified prospective resource estimate done, and that will be released this quarter. And then once we've completed all of our technical work, we'll get ready to farm out the Mzarabani prospect and our acreage in the first half of next year.
Well, Scott, sounds like lots of news flow to come. We do hope you'll keep us in the loop as that happens. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much for having me.